that we are being invaded. This is a replacement population. They are here to kill you, right? And there are different people coming for different reasons, right? There are the Chinese that want the whole world to be Chinese, right? There are the Islamic groups that want the whole world to be Islamic, right? There are many groups there's many groups that would love to rule the world. There's only a few that have any chance of actually doing it. And one of those would be actually the Chinese Communist Party. But the rest of them will make it, not just will make it, but are making life very interesting and always have with forced conversions. A lot of Christian missionaries, of course, have done the same. It's not like just Muslims do it. It's not like just Hindus do it. Hindus do it too. I know Hindus go crazy and write me a bunch of messages now. You guys do it too. I spent a year in India. I can't wait to go back. I learn a lot. I love, going around with Hindus and learning about how they live and how they think. It's a very enriching. But a lot of these proselytizing religions can go full jihad. They can go full crusade, right? And we see that with the World Economic Forum right now is on a march to try to rule the world, and they have entwined themselves with the Chinese Communist Party. Both of them are globalists. Actually, the Chinese Communist Party is more like a fist. The World Economic Forum is more like a lot of fingers, like many, many fingers, like more than are on my hand. The World Economic Forum is an amalgam of interest, an amalgam of oligarchs that are coming together and trying to form a team to rule the world. Whereas the Chinese Communist Party is like, okay, we're cooperating. I'm not actually sure who formed who, actually. I've talked with a lot of academics and historians, like the Chinese Communist Party actually formed World Economic Forum. It's kind of hard to find the source of the Nile. But in any case, somehow at this point they are together. And ultimately, I've asked quite a few people, who do you think will end up, because they're going to fight each other. For sure, at some point, it's going to go. And I think the Chinese Communist Party will beat the World Economic Forum for various reasons. But the World Economic Forum is the one who's helping Chinese Communist Party into the position where they're going to smash World Economic Forum. The World Economic Forum is helping lift Chinese Communist Party up, and then the Chinese Communist Party will kill the World Economic Forum. It's quite clear. And the Chinese Communist Party are much more able than, say, the Iranians or anybody in the Middle East, or anybody in the world, really, because they, on their biological warfare programs, which they'll be able to target people genetically and that sort of thing. A lot of Americans seem to think they're going to be fighting on the streets with AR-15s. You're like Fred Flintstone, thinking you're going to like beat back dinosaurs with rocks. This is going to be a biological warfare. They're already doing chemical warfare with the fentanyl and so many other things. The drug warfare, right? In other words, Soros was all about open. Everybody can use any chemical they want. That's how Soros was. And long before he was open borders. So he went to, hey, let's get everybody doped up, and then we'll have a sufficient critical mass of dope heads like Joe Rogan, the dopamale. You'll have dopamales like that who are sufficiently influenceable, because once they're addicted to any sort of dope, they're easy to influence, right? And that includes alcohol, right? And when I say this, people say, well, what about alcohol? Okay, yes, that too, right? That's why when you go to these bars, I don't drink, I don't smoke dope, I don't do any of that crap. The only thing I do is drink coffee. I drink coffee. That's it. That's my drug. And I have a long relationship with water. And so, but the point is that when you go to these bars, you go to an airport, CNN, right? The next time you go by some bar, like in these hotels I stay at, they have restaurant and bars usually, and it'll be CNN playing right at the bar. That's a perfect brainwashing station, right? But what I'm getting to is we are in a very comprehensive hybrid war. It's not just the weaponized migration. It's not just the replacement population. It's not just the drugs and the stupidity that people like Joe Rogan bring to millions and millions of people. It is a lot of other things that are, economic warfare is absolutely massive. All of these things, and the food issues, I've talked extensively about that in the past. We're clearly going to go into global famines. It's clearly going to be intense, and this will drive a lot of human osmotic pressure. Human osmotic pressure is the push and the pull of migration that will cause more people to move to different places, right? So meanwhile, you've got the United Nations opening up the pathways, for instance, down to the Darien Gap, Bahamas, which is near me, Canadian border, just flying in day and night. They fill out the CBP1 app on their telephones, or they just get normal visas and come in, right? And stay, and they stay forever. Birth tourism in Guam and other places. I mean, all of these things are quite serious. And taken as a whole, we're being hit like an octopus on acid. And again, if you want to win a war, you have to set the conditions. It's all about conditions, not sparks. In war, an old adage from, I don't know who came up with this, but it was probably 2,000 years ago. But amateurs talk tactics and professionals talk logistics, right? There's a corollary. Amateurs talk sparks, professionals talk conditions, and logistics affects conditions, right? Now, conditions. It's all about conditions. So the United States, the battlefield, it's called battlefield prep, battlefield preparation. Soften them up with artillery, right? And then you set the conditions to go in and overrun their positions, right? That's what's happening now. They're softening up American brains with drugs that dopamines like Joe Rogan push. Meanwhile, you got the Chinese up in Maine, up in Oregon and Oklahoma and California, all these places growing huge amounts of dope, selling it, making billions of dollars for their war campaign, right? And the fentanyl that kills thousands of Americans per month. Our population is weak now. I spend most of my time overseas. I spend most of my time, 5 years in the Middle East, 18 or so in Asia, more than 6 in Europe, and just here and there. Every country in Central America, from Canada all the way to Colombia. I've been to every one of those countries. And I can tell you what I can see when I come back to the United States, which, again, I've spent more than 2/3 of my life overseas. When I come back to the United States, I can sense that my people are doped up. Well, not everybody, of course. Most people probably don't. But there are a sufficient number that they just behave like they're operating at 90% of their capacity at best, like Joe Rogan. Look at that clown. He continues to bring on these conservative guests. That's a good draw. That's like the bar, and then you have CNN, right? You have the bar, get everybody all doped up, and now here's my message. Let's get doped up and watch Joe Rogan. And what does Joe Rogan say about the border? Whoosh, whoa, why are they doing that? I don't understand. It's 2024, man. If you don't get it now, you're never going to get it. I mean, this is really serious. These guys coming through the Darien Gap, they're high on testosterone. They're not high on dope. They're not high on alcohol. They're not high on all these pills that are prescribed. They are coming, and they will chop your heads off and kick them down the street like soccer balls. They are coming to replace the United Americans. Even the ones who don't know it yet will be phones are being handed out. Phones are being handed out. Even if the phones aren't handed out, they'll easily capture all their phone numbers through 1,000 different mechanisms and be able to make and target different ethnic groups with different messages and whatnot, get everybody to fight each other. It's child's play. This is the sort of stuff that's been done for at least a couple thousand years, but now you can do it with AI, right? So it's on steroids at this point. Yeah, it's coming down. One thing that people have to do is, first of all, one drug addict in your family can mess up your whole family. Everybody knows that. Anybody ever had an alcoholic in their family? I have. Everybody who's had one in your family knows it's like a smart bomb hitting your house, right? And it's like having a drug addict under your roof is like a smart bomb hitting your house. And the Chinese are out here pushing the fentanyl, pushing the dope, growing the dope. Perfect preparation of the battlefield, isn't it?